Is this thing working? Are we live? It looks like we are live. Guys, what is happening? Welcome to Two Wheel Tuesdays, talking all things motorcycle. I don't really have a preference on this show. We can talk about a little bit of whatever y'all want to. Um, looks like we're having some connectivity problems. Hey, looks like we're back. Already off to a shaky start. Yay. Anyway, if it's your first time hanging out with us, welcome. Glad you found the show. This is really an informal type of a chat. When I have the live shows, it's really just for us to hang out. My channel is not much more than a background noise generator anyway, so I don't do any editing. I don't do anything like that. Again, it's super organic. It's just us hanging out. So, tons to talk about when it comes to motorcycles. And for me, guys, this is really and always has been my true passion. Two wheels has been always greater than four for me in a lot of different ways. It's not that I have anything, it's not like a greater than or less than with cars. It's just the first thing that I ever fell in love with. So, in saying that, lots of stuff going on in motorcycledom. Whether you're a cruiser guy, you're a mini dude, you like sport bikes, classics, standards, nakeds, it doesn't matter. Tons to talk about all the time. Now's your opportunity to chat with somebody about it. You got the comment section right over there. It is live. I see all of y'all's comments. So I will try to get to everybody if we got a whole bunch of folks like we used to do on the car channels. So let me check in with you guys first. Early Bird Skids is in. Got the flex with the ball guy in the shades. Ryan is in as well. Ryan's got his CF Moto, so yes. And just remember, Ryan, if they're cold or you're cold, they're cold. Those things are tucked in. Nakeds, yes. Nakeds, yes. Okay, so Skids, yeah, I'm saying nakeds because there's one bike that we are not going to get in the States, it looks like, and that's the 750 Hornet, unless something changes. That the 1000 Hornet, though, looks like it is going to make it here, and that is going to spell trouble with a capital T for Suzuki GSX S variant owners. But I'll say this, as I am saying that, you know that Stubbs sells Honda too, right? It don't just sell Suzuki. Anyway, big shout out to my boys over at Stubbs Cycles, Rob and Hunter. In fact, I should be picking up my tail cowl here the next couple of days. Anyway, those are the guys that took care of me on my GSXR 1000 acquisition. And they're the ones that I will be visiting with. They are the hosting dealer for my ride reviews. So I'm going to have a ton of ride reviews coming up, brought to you by Stubbs Cycles. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just like I've normally done in the past, no ride along videos. The reason why I'm not going to do ride along videos is number one, I don't know that a dealership wants to see me doing hooligan-esque stuff with their inventory. But that's also something that I don't really want to promote for the street. I'll talk about the stuff that I do. I'll talk about how the bike performs. I'll give you my impressions of the thing. I will fumble through some type of a thing. I'll have some shots, of the bike, obviously. But that's going to be basically about it. And it's going to be a ride review. And then I'll do a post-ride review here at the office. So I'll have something short while I'm there, and then I'll do something later on with that same bike. Let's see. It looks like we are having some technical difficulties. Hold, please, while I try to sort through this. This is kind of weird because I was having really good connection earlier. Hang on. Let me move this thing over here. Hold, please. Talk amongst yourselves, boys. Hang on. Coming back. Here we go. Let's see if that helps. This random internet funk that we keep running into. But anyway, that's how this is going to look. So I'm looking forward to this. There's a few bikes that I'm really looking forward to throwing a leg over. Namely, once they land, the Hornet is going to be a big deal for me. But tons of bikes and used inventory that I can play with too. May play around with a couple of the Indians that are out there. We'll see about that. And the other cool thing is Stubbs has got a very deep inventory when it comes to used bikes. And that's going to allow me the opportunity to sample a host of different motorcycles. The first bike that I'm hoping to get knocked out, weather permitting, is going to be the GSX 8R. So we'll see how that goes. I really did like that bike. Let's see. Oh, the Transalp. Yep. Honda's in the 270 degree crank. Yes, they are. One of the Hondas that I'm going to be checking out is that 650 with the automatic transmission, or the automatic clutch, I should say. That's one that I'm going to be bringing to you guys, and that's something that I'm a little bit like, I got to admit, I'm a little bit sketched out about that one, but we'll see how it plays out. I don't know what I'm going to be doing with this hand the whole time, but we'll see. I'll tell you what, though. Fun fact. So just while we're talking about riding different bikes, I took the Daytona out. I took my dad's bike out, and I was out running errands with it. And it's funny because it's a Triumph T595. It's a 955cc triple, and makes about 130 horsepower. That bike is a lot of fun to ride, mainly because it's truly a throwback. It's 1998, guys. So, I mean, that bike is, 25 years old, but it still gets down the road great. Does need a clutch, but beside the point. Now we're playing around with that bike, and it got me to thinking, it's kind of weird how sport bikes really are devolving or revolving back into that mode. And at some point, I do want to do a dedicated live show on the R9, the RCR, the R9 from Yamaha that's been recently shown, the RCR, which we finally got a good look at. Bikes like that, these 900-ish cc triples, the RCR is a parallel twin. Anyway, it's kind of crazy that these bikes are evolving down. Oh, the new V2 Panigale, they're evolving down into that 120, 130-ish horsepower. I find that curious because, it's strange. I go from the GSX-R 1000 to the Daytona, and again, it's a 98 Daytona, 955, not the 675. But it's weird. I ride the Daytona, and believe it or not, because it's got a quick throttle and because it's a triple 955, that partial throttle torque hit is not altogether different than the Gixxer Thau. And the funniest thing about that is that the Gixxer Thau of the 4-cylinder Japanese true purebred hot rods is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, in that metric. Again, not wide open. I'm talking about partial throttle hits. Man, that bike is so close to that Gixxer Thau, it's not even funny. Now, granted, lean into the GSX R1000, R1, CBI, doesn't matter which one, and things get different. But if you ain't in it to win it, that Daytona is damn punchy. And that is what these newer bikes are promising. They're promising a big torque hit, large snap when you give it that partial throttle hit. That's going to get a lot of guys going. So anyway, I'm going to be doing a dedicated show on those bikes at some point. And I'm looking forward to that because that's going to be fun because I kind of already have one of those bikes in a matter of thinking, right? It doesn't have all the technology, of course. And it's set up kind of soft, admittedly. It's more of a sport touring bike now than anything else. But I got the power delivery and I got the look, and it still handles pretty good. So let me check in to you guys. Oh, the MV Agusta Brutale. Very nice bike. It's funny. We were, a buddy of mine and I were just talking about the F3. F3 MV Agusta is a heck of a little bike. Matter of fact, for being honest, F3 MV Agusta is really what the R9 should have been. It's about 150. It's not about. It's shy of 150. It's called 145 horsepower, but it's a triple 800. And that would be maybe the bike that would completely change the game if one of the Japanese manufacturers decided to play ball with that MV Agusta. Skid saying, of course, the Ducati Street Fighter. Yes, another good one. Sovereign is in. Good deal. Ryan saying, yes, play with some Indians. They've got some Indians on the used bike side. A couple of really good looking Indians too. And I wouldn't mind getting one of those out and just stretching its legs a little bit. It'd be fun to get, you know, a sense of what that bike can do compared to like my T-Bird, for example. Let's see. Oh yeah, Skids. Most of the sexy naked bikes are European for sure. Yeah, no question about that. Sovereign's hanging out with Skids. Let's see. So yeah, Skids, I'm interested to see the new Honda CB1000 too. That bike for me, for a lot of folks, is going to be a nice segue up, but really more segue down for a lot of folks. I think that what you're going to find with the CB1000 and really the SE version of that bike, it's got a hell of a price point, number one. But number two, I think the reason why I'm so excited about this bike is that it is, excuse me, the latest iteration of naked hot rod, standard-ish kind of bike. And what that'll bring to the table is a nice landing point for folks that might not want to get out of motorcycling, but don't necessarily want a sport bike anymore. They may have, you know, I don't want to say aged out of it, because I know a lot of the guys that ride sport bikes are in their 60s, 70s, and even older in some cases. But a lot of guys just, they want something different, but they still want the power. They still want that punch. And that's really where the Hornet comes into play. The Hornet is a bike that I can see, you know, the guy that used to really love to kill it on twisties and stuff like that, that SE variant will still kind of scratch that itch. But with 155 horsepower, now we haven't seen one hit a dyno yet. It's going to be tough to beat the GSX S. But when you put that thing on a dyno, let's say if it does put down an honest to goodness, say 137 to 142, that's going to be a significant player of a bike. And it's checking in at what, 470 pounds. So it's not super heavy. It's right there in the click with the rest of those bikes. You get 470-ish pounds wet with, say, 150-ish horsepower. That's going to be a spicy little bike. So I think a lot of guys are going to really enjoy it. Let's see. Oh, Skid's hanging out with Sovereign. Hard Rock is in. Yeah, Ryan saying that Hornet looks like we need it in the U.S. I tell you what, here's the thing. If, how do I put this? If we could get the 750, and the reason why I say 750 is because the GSX S 750 doesn't really have, it doesn't have a sparring partner, in my opinion. If we could get the Hornet 750 here just to keep the GSX S 750 honest, you'd have a couple of strong middleweight standard bikes that, again, it would significantly satisfy the needs of a guy. Again, let's say you're a big middleweight fan, but you don't necessarily want the dedicated ergos, or you're looking for something different. You just want a standard bike to have in the stable. I mean, hell, look no further than one of those two bikes. And again, if you're a fan of middleweight power delivery, there's two bikes there that would do really well if we could get them both here. Let's see. DM is in. X is saying, what up, Professor B in chat? Hello. See, Sovereign's hanging out with Skids. Let's see. CT90. Little bike. I tell you what, speaking of little bikes, there is one. Okay, there's two. I actually own one of them, and I took it for a ride today. Okay, so I've got this funny thing when it comes to mini bikes. I really like mini bikes. The Grom, the Ruckus. My favorite one right now is the Dax. But I also have one in inventory. And it's the one bike that I will just hop on and just just cruise around the neighborhood. It's my Rebel, the little 250 Honda Rebel. Smoking hot doesn't want to have anything to do with trying to learn how to ride a motorcycle. So I've got the Rebel, and I mean, I'll just hop on the thing. Sometimes I'll ride it up here to the shop. It really is a 7/10 sized motorcycle with, like 2/10 power, right? But it is a lot of fun. And so anyway, it to me is just a big mini bike, and it really is a mini bike when you think about it. So anyway, people go, oh, I love my Grom. Oh, I love my, this, that, and whatever. Like, I got a mini bike too. It's a Rebel 250, and it's just fun, and that's the other thing about bikes too, is that, like I was saying in the beginning of the show tonight, I don't like, yes, I have my preferences, but I love all of them. So I'm cool to talk any kind of bike. You want to talk mini, sport bikes, cruisers, nakeds. I love all of them. So let's see. Skids hanging out with Cyber. Got to get you on two wheels. Hard saying on the road to Christmas. Yep. Oh, yep. X is in. Let's see. Oh, I lost my spot. Skid saying, how is Christmas just 3 weeks away? Yeah, no kidding. It'll be here before you know it. Skids pounded DM, dapping it up. Sorry, holy cow, I just looked up what his 77 CT. Yeah, any of those things, they're crazy. The CT. Okay, so the one that'll blow your mind is a trail. Any of the trail bikes are crazy expensive now too. Jim's asking, do you like the Kawasaki Z900 SE retro bikes? Love them. So I owned a 2023 Z900 RS Cafe, and I'll tell you this, I there's times where I wish I didn't get rid of that bike. I can tell you this, I love riding it. The suspension on the SE is significantly better than the standard bikes though. And they never offered an SE in the Cafe, which blows my mind. But yeah, between the two, the one you want is the SE, especially if you weigh over 175 pounds. That bike is not the SE, but the regular Z900. Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about the regular Z900. You're talking about Z900 RS, right? Because you mentioned retro. Threw me off for a minute. If I were to do that bike all over again, I probably wouldn't do anything different now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe I don't know, maybe a different exhaust that would be a little bit quieter. I had the Brox exhaust on it, and it was loud, but it wasn't just loud. It was where it exited. And for some reason, that bike had a pitch that would just trick my ears out. It sounded great, but I would probably go with a different exhaust or no exhaust at all, just tune it. Or some type of just a more chilled out, a little bit quieter exhaust for that bike would have probably been a better play. Excuse me, isn't the Hornet 750 more of a competitor? No, the Hornet 750, memory serves me correctly, is going to be something that's going to be a lot different. Hold on, let me make sure I'm not losing my mind here. Is my understanding, or is it going to be a parallel? Did I misspeak? Hold, please. It might be. Oh, it is a P2. Okay, never mind. Okay, so that bike then still, okay, so let's say that it is though. Let's think of it. Let's think of the Hornet 750 like this. We need a bike that is going to be close to that Man, it's about 90 horsepower. Well, that's not that too far off. 90 horsepower at 9,500 RPM. GSX-S is checking in at, oh, hang on, 112. So, I mean, it's not that far removed, right? Like it's yeah, 12 horsepower is different, but it's also like saying, you know, the difference between the R9 and the GSX-R 750. Like it's not near that big of a difference between those two bikes. So for me, I would still say, yeah, it's in that same range. You've got 60 foot-pounds of torque with the GSX-S 750 and the Hornet. Oh, the Hornet is going to check in at, oh, hang on, let me pull it. Come on, will you? At 55 pound-feet. So basically the same torque, not that far off, plus it's a P2. So you're going to get that hard hit down low. I mean, I would say I would say it's a competitor, man. I still would say it's a competitor, even though we're looking at, you know, different levels of power delivery. You know, the P2, yeah, it's about 10% down, but that's what we expect out of P2s, right? Like for the same displacement, you know, a P2 being about 10% down is actually kind of overachieving when you think about it. So, I will say the no, it's definitely more powerful than the GSX-8R or the GSX-8S. They all kind of start to blend together though a little bit. So, but there's a lot of cool bikes in that category either way. Jebediah is in. Got the fist bump. The Tote Goat. I don't think I have. Any of those bikes, I bet, is a lot of fun. Dude, Trail 125 for Sovereign be a good bike. Trail 125 is a fun bike. Just kick that thing around the neighborhood, kick it around town. As long as you don't want to go over like 45 miles an hour, it's a neat little bike. Jebediah. Drag back for a narrow body Hellcat. I don't know, dude. I don't deal with cars right now. If you want one, there's one right back over here. Go with Forge Star, Forge Line. Let's see. And seriously, any of the drag pack setups work just fine with that. Trail CT needs a transfer case. Oh, wait, I'm not real familiar with those types of bikes. Although I do need to get my my four-wheeler back up and running. Sovereign saying, get a Rebel. I tell you what, the new Rebel 300 is a great bike. Let's see. X is saying, when people ride their motorcycle in the winter, are they not freezing their ass off even with all the winter gear? You'd be surprised how hot you can get on a bike. So the guys that, okay, so let me put it to you in this way. You ever see those sport touring bikes? They're also called adventure bikes. We affectionately call them sport utility motorcycles. And what they are is it's a bike. It looks like it could be an off-road, but not, or you see the guys on Gold Wings for that matter. When you're on those bikes and you've got your cold weather gear on, you'd be surprised how warm you are on a bike. You've got your lid, your neck, your little crop thing over your head, your thermal stuff on, your gloves, the gauntlets, everything else. When you first get started, you're kind of cold, but once you get used to it, it's actually kind of nice. I used to like riding in cold weather, but I don't really ride in cold weather so much anymore. Oh, Hard Arc saying winter storm is coming here soon. Yep. Oh, Skids is saying, Sovereign. CT90, I don't know if it'll get it to 65. Suzuki's let the GSX S750 fail forward. They did. Well, and the funny thing, talk about failing forward. So the 750, the GSX-R 750 is, and the S750, they're both kind of in that same vein where, you know, the more guys move into, or the more guys move away from different types of bikes, all of them end up looking at one of the 750s at some point. They see them as more of a compromise. You get a little bit more torque and about the same horsepower, maybe a little bit more as the smaller CC bikes, but they're not overwhelming like the leader class bikes. I will say this. I find it funny that Suzuki never really threw a ton of technology. Talk about the GSX-S here, but at the GSX-R 750, that bike doesn't have a quick shifter. It doesn't have any kind of digital anything. Well, it does, but it doesn't. Come on, seriously. And as far as dashboards, the 750 or the 600, but they are so good. And a lot of folks, they want the analog. They want the analog experience. They want to have that more raw, more engaged experience, and that's where that bike does extremely well. I would hope that at some point that Suzuki would throw at least their quick shifter technology at that bike, maybe give it a little bit of a refresh. But man, I don't know. God, they're so good bikes, man. The thing, okay, and here's the other thing. We're talking about retro, right? Just a minute ago, we're talking about the Z900 RS. So, you know what's funny? Like, there is no other better retro motorcycle out right now than Suzuki GSX R 600 and 750. They've got analog tacks, a Game Boy-esque graphic LCD display, no quick shifter. It is a motorcycle, man. That is what I love about that bike. And it's kind of throwback too. So for me, you know, people talk about, oh, retro bike and all this other stuff. And I just go GSX-R 750 or GSX-R 600. That's all the retro you need, man. I mean, if you want to know what it was like to ride a motorcycle, you know, 20, 30, 40 years ago, go ride one of those bikes. And that's exactly what it was like. Just you and the bike, except you didn't have any kind of traction control or nannies or ABS or anything like that. I was saying along with the 750. Yep, absolutely. Someone said, buddy had a dirt bikes. KX 125 is a hell of a bike. Goldfish, tire pressure for Bridgestone S22s on the Z900 RS for canyon riding during California winter. What do you suggest? 65 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So for my bike with those tires, I did 38, 36, and I did 35, 37. And that bike loved those pressures. I could not outride or outdrive those tires. I could have the bike completely on the side of the tire in fourth gear and just rolling through the throttle in nice long sweepers, and the bike would just hold its spot perfectly at those pressures. So, yeah, Golf manufacturer says 3642. If depending on how aggressive you are, if you're really out there getting after it, I mean, you're honest to goodness on the side of the tire, looking through the corner, like what you like what you saw in the thumbnail, basically me doing. If you are honestly getting after it with that bike, that is going to be where you're going to want to be. And I'll even go so far as to say this: 36 front, 38 rear was nice. It was real nice with that bike. That was the first pressure that I started running on that bike. And then I dropped it down just a little bit when I was getting a little bit more push out of that bike on some real fast sweepers. And yeah, I rode that bike like that. So, but yeah, 36, 38 you'll be real happy with that pressure with S22s. Good tire, by the way. Hard Rock saying the only street bikes out around here are on-road, off-road trail bikes. Skids B does a great job at answering questions. Thank you. Skid saying I'm right here in Texas year round. I have the gator and the heated gloves. Big time help. Very warm jacket and boots as well. Yes, up in North Texas where it will get bitterly cold. Oh yeah, X for sure. The thing is okay. So up in NorCal, you got to remember. So in Northern California, a lot of people ride their motorcycles year round, but they ride them rain or shine, and so a lot of the same gear, it works, in both conditions. And you see these guys running these bikes around. I mean, it's pouring down rain on their ADV bikes, and they're just zooming past you on the highway. So. In fact, if I still lived in NorCal, I would be using a Tiger 900 or a Tiger 850 as my daily. And you just box the thing up. And if you've got to run into the city to go visit with a client, or, if you're in sales and you need to bring files, or you've got some sample boards or something like that, maybe just toss them in your box and run into the city. And it's awesome. It's great. It's the same. Yeah, heated gloves for sure. The Bonneville has heated grips, which I didn't even realize when I bought that bike. It had that. I bet below 30, it's too much. It's like hunting in 20-degree weather. The thing about 30 degrees, once you start getting below freezing, the tires don't really like it that much. In fact, if you get below any number that starts with a 3, tires, traction, and all of that starts to significantly plummet. Saying, look at temperature and wind speed charts. Yeah. Oh, and it's easily, I mean, whatever the temperature is, take 10 or 12 degrees off of that, and that's what it feels like. So, Hard saying crotch rockets are cool, but the retro cruisers are the knuckleheads and flatheads, also Indian Chiefs, etc. Yeah, Indians are nice. They wouldn't have been on a 50-year hiatus for sure. Goldfish is saying, thank you. You got it, man. High five, bro. DM saying, I'm not a cold weather rider. Once my fingers get so cold, I can't feel the controls, I'm done. Yeah, if your fingers are cold, your tires are cold. I won't rail on my bike when it's cold. In fact, I would rarely, my temperature, my absolute bottom was 45. If it was colder than 45, I wouldn't ride because I wouldn't be able to enjoy it. X saying, yeah, dude, riding in the rain, just chilling, man. VW Bagger. Oh, yeah, those things. Yeah, there's some cool cruisers that I want to check out. But they're all, the ones that I'm interested in are all Indians. So, and you know what? If it's still there, and I may do this, and I'm not doing it for a laugh. I'm doing it almost because of nostalgia's sake. But just because I can't believe they still make them to this day, I'll take what they've got, a Fury in stock, and I may take that Fury out just to say that I rode one. If you don't know what a Honda Fury is, just look it up. They get clowned on, but the thing is that they're actually hella good bikes. And if you don't care that it's a Honda, and you squint your eyes, I mean, it's a legit custom looking bike. So anyway, it's, if you want to act like an American, but you're not from America, and you want to ride a motorcycle and you're not in America, then the Fury is the bike to get. Sovereign is back. Very nice. Like I said, I've never really been into chopper bikes, but I like other class bikes. I never really could get into choppers. And it's not that I couldn't ever get into them, it's I never did get into them. And yeah, it's an awesome bike, and no, it will not leave you stranded like other motorcycles that it is built to emulate. They make good power. They will get down the road just fine. They're punchy from a stop, from what I can tell, and I don't see a problem with them. So it's an interesting bike. So I want to, if they still have it in stock, when I start doing the rides and review, I want to, get out there and have some fun with it. Oh, well, Skid saying, damn, be more shots fired. Well, I mean, come on, let's be real. And speaking of the brand, because Lord knows we can't have a Two Wheel Tuesday without the brand. So here's the thing. Obviously, I didn't go with Harley Davidson for the next bike. I went with Suzuki. And, the whole thing for me was, obviously there just wasn't a bike that I could fall in love with. But to make matters worse, it looks like Harley Davidson is doubling down on not wanting to bring to the customer bikes that they're looking for. And I feel like, and this is going to be the topic of a separate, like one of my standalone videos. Should Harley Davidson split? So I guess I can kind of like go through a dress rehearsal with you on that video that I'm putting together. So should Harley Davidson just split? Look, have one that is called Harley Motorcycle Company. Harleys, because we call them Harleys anyway, build the legacy bikes and call them Harley Motorcycle Company. Come find your legacy, the bike that you've always dreamed of, the bike that you, whatever, bike pirates, go to Harley. But if you want an American-made modern motorcycle, go to Davidson Motorcycle Company, where we specialize in, V-twin water-cooled hot rods, and this is where you would find your Pan America, which is turning out to be a hell of a motorcycle, by the way. And maybe they make the Bronx, except Harley Davidson has already said they will not make the Bronx. And this is where that whole argument basically dissolves, that they should split, because the only other bikes that they would have are the Sportster S and the Nightster, right? Well, you can't really build a brand around those bikes. The Pan America is the only one that anybody is interested in. And if they brought the Bronx / Street Fighter, which Bronx would be the 970, Street Fighter would be the 1200, those are the bikes that they need to make to bring new blood and new energy into Harley Davidson. And right now, Harley Davidson just has got and I said this in a previous video, it's got an old man smell about it in a lot of ways. So they won't make the Bronx, which means they won't make the Street Fighter. And the reason why is, and they're saying this, they literally said this out loud, that the Bronx or the Street Fighter platform, they at the price that they would have to sell it at, they wouldn't make enough money. So you'd still make money with the thing. You just wouldn't make enough money. Gotcha. So that's a problem. That's putting profits before your customers. That isn't very brother-like, is it? Like, it's just really not brother to put those kind of words out there, man. That's just like bad form. It's just another reason for me to bag on them. No pun intended. But dude, I just... anyway, we're not going to get the hot rods that we're looking for from the brand, but we do have the Pan America. And I think I saw Skids mention it a minute ago. The hooligan class of bikes. And apparently, and this is where, if Harley Davidson was smart and just like, this is, I mean, the sandwich has already been explained to them. They've had the bread and the ham spotted to them with the Pan America. do away with the Nightster. That thing is, to look at it, it looks like a Chinese imitation of a Harley Davidson that got nothing right, except for the fact that it's got 2 wheels and a handlebar. But the Pan America, on the other hand, that hooligan class, guys are taking Pan Americas, which are already frighteningly expensive, and they are modifying them to kind of go along with that hooligan style of motorcycle. If you're not familiar with it, check it out. It's a pretty slick looking bike, but it's a proper hot rod at 150 horsepower. If you look at it from that point of view, they've already got a bike that would do what the Street Fighter would do. And this thing's got racing heritage, maybe, if you want to call it that. But it does have racing heritage, right? So it has some panache, and there's something to be said for hot rodding that particular bike. If I'm Harley Davidson, I take what I've done forever, which is put a motorcycle out and then wait. What's everybody doing with it? Oh, they're doing this, that, and this. Okay. And then they'll put something out that kind of is like that bike, right? That's really more where I'm at with the Pan America, the hooligan style motorcycle and all of that. If Harley Davidson, they're already making the bike now anyway, just do something cool with that. Do something cool with anything, for crying out loud. But you've already got the Pan America. People are already hot rodding that thing to make it more, because it's a street oriented. When you get into the hooligan style bikes, just make a variant that's more street oriented. Quit trying to be in an ADV bike, because ain't nobody going into a Harley Davidson dealership looking for an ADV bike. All right. Seriously. I mean, Africa Twin, and then everybody else is like a, or a Tiger or a GS from BMW, right? Anyway, you get the idea. So that's kind of the gist of what I'm going to be getting at in that video. Well, and so Skids bring, will they bring the hooligan class version to Pan Am? Well, they need to. And once they do, you're exactly right. We'll stop talking about the Bronx. We'll stop talking about the Street Fighter. We'll stop talking about bikes that get anybody remotely interested. But here's the thing. Is the Pan Am getting swapped over to a hooligan style bike? Is that going to be enough? I don't know. I don't know that it would be. And at what price? Have you seen what the Pan Ams go for? I mean, damn, son. So it's like they've already got a bike, but they won't do anything with it. They've got people clamoring, begging them to make, say, a $15,000 to $17,000 Street Fighter or a $12,000 to $14,000 Bronx, and they won't do that. So it's just kind of, I don't know, man. For me, I see the direction that Harley Davidson is going right now, and okay, so it's 2024, right? And we're kind of going through different phases with that brand, and they're just in a bad, kind of a funky spot. There's aspects of motorcycle culture that just don't want to have anything to do with that brand, and it's getting worse before it gets worse for those guys. So, oh yeah, the Royal Stars are nice bikes. Yeah, Skids. Yeah, there's a lot of folks that are taking Pan Ams and hot rodding them. I just don't know what they what it looks like long term for those bikes. Royal Star, it was the Star Motorcycle Company, was Yamaha's cruiser line. In fact, they broke off Star from Yamaha. It's been years and years ago. I don't know if that's still a thing. Royal Enfield. You know what? I'll tell you what, I don't have a problem with Royal Enfield. I actually kind of like their bikes a lot. I'll be real freaking honest with you, man. In fact, if I could, if I just needed a runabout, like in town runabout that would legit do 70, like, and not be stressing. That little 350 is a neat little bike. And I know for a fact it'll do 70. It won't do 100, but I think it'll do about 80. Goldfish say, my dream bike is a GSXR 750 with a quick shifter up and down and engine braking controls, if they ever made one. Basically, I'm praying for Honda to bring an updated CBR 600 RR to America. And yes, I did see how cool that is, and why we don't have it, I don't know. But this goes with the fact is that 600cc class bikes, they're just having such a hard time right now. The thing is that there's some realities to motorcycles that a lot of folks, oh man, how do you put this? There's a lot of folks that would look at a 600cc bike today and just go, it's a dinosaur. Because when you look, if you ever get a chance to take the GSX 8R out for a test drive, that bike, and I'm not kidding when I say this, it's got that punchy little parallel twin. And I say little only in that it's 800 cc's, but the bike is narrow, it's small, it's kind of comfortable with those clip-on-ish type bars. I'm telling you, if this is another bike that I would have, I still lived in NorCal. Out, of course, my GSXR 750 was my sweetheart. That's the bike that's in the thumbnail. But I would have a GSX 8R as a bike that I would just get on and ride. I mean, that, I'll put it to you like this. That bike rides a lot. This is going to sound like a weird comparison, I know, but that bike rides a hell of a lot like a Bonneville 900. So the T100, or better yet, the Speed Twin 900. That's really more what it's like. But a Bonneville T100 is real similar in that immediate pop with the torque. That's how the 8S is and the 8R is. You just get on it and you whack the throttle and it just immediately, it's got an immediate torque response that you expect out of a parallel twin, but this thing doesn't have to rev to the moon. And so when you ride that bike, it's incredibly satisfying. And if you live in an urban environment, and this is the real deal here, most people don't live for speed, right? When they have a motorcycle, a lot of folks live in urban areas. They use these bikes as commuters, fair weather commuters. They're not trying to set land speed records. They're not trying to, rip wheelies, although 8R will wheelie pretty good. Ask me how I know. And I'm not even good at wheelies. But the reality is that if you are in those types of an environment, a parallel twin is exceptionally good because you get instant bottom end, way, way, way low in the RPM range response. And that's where that 8R does well. So I'm optimistic, I should say, that I'll be able to get within the next, if the weather permits, within the next few weeks, I at least want to get started on picking bikes and riding them and giving you guys an after ride review. And again, just as a reminder, I am not going to be doing any ride along videos because number one, well, I'll be honest with you, I don't like ride along videos because it's distracting, number one. And two, for me, videos, you got to remember my channel is just background noise generator, right? So people that listen to my show, like the live show, most of them are like doing something else. They're mowing the yard, they're working, they're doing paperwork, they're doing whatever. And I'm just kind of wah, wah, wah in the background, just motorcycle or car content in the background. And I get that. I'm not trying to be anything more than that. But the ride along stuff, you don't really ever see anything. I mean, you see a tree go by or you see, there goes a Camry, and a lot of times the audio just kind of throws me off. So that's going to be what you'll get. I'll take the bike out. I'll do like a 2-part deal like I've done with the Triumphs where I'll do a walk around with the bike, show you some things that I like, let you hear the thing. And then I'll post that, and then I'll come back to the office. I'll do a post-ride review where I talk more about the experience, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it. And then, you'll have your comments, and I'll try to respond to as many of those as I can. But that's how that format's going to go. Each bike is going to get 2 separate videos. Oh, talking about the Star Motorcycle Company. Yep. Let's see. Oh yeah, there were some decent bikes. Let's see, Skid's hanging out with Sovereign. Oh, Skid, yeah, I didn't buy my Harley Davidson at Harley. They tried to nickel and dime people. I got a heck of a deal at a dealership here in Dallas. They deal in everything and we're willing to make a deal. Still loving it. Perfect. Man, I got to tell you something. I didn't have a bad experience at the Harley dealership. There were some things that I was immediately keenly aware of, though, in a Harley Davidson dealership. They make sure that when you are in a Harley Davidson dealership, you have a Harley Davidson experience. That is for sure. Kids, let's face it, Harley Davidson's going to do Harley Davidson things. Some folks love the bikes, and the majority of the dealerships work. It pushes many people or potential customers away, and some just, go over and get used at non-Harley. Yep, I get that 100%. Oh, and for the sub 16K price, they'd be square in Indian territory. I like the Indians, man. I really do. Oh, Skid saying RE supports or SNS supports Royal Enfield with big bore kits for the 650 bikes. Pretty sick, I know, right? I'm telling you, man, you can make a little hot rod out of a Royal Enfield. Don't, they're fun bikes. Slap an 865 big bore kit on it. The Bear 650. I think, was it the Continental? It's a good looking bike. Oh, Goldfish, yeah, I get it. The new 8R is a great all-around bike and comfortable. They are comfortable. I would prefer if because that bike fits a smaller person, if you could have it, the bars, they have aftermarket bars for everything, right? So just a set of aftermarket bars for me would sum that bike up pretty nicely. Oh, Eric's on Facebook. Yeah, Eric to pop in. Where you at, buddy? There he is. What's up, Eric? Doing good, bud? Hard Rock. Which one was that one? Educate me. Eric is in. What is up, my man? Oh, the Aprilia RSV4 or V4S, another killer bike. Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I mean, look, Aprilia is in a place right now where, I mean, they're competing directly with the likes of CBR 1000 RR. R1 is big time in this conversation. In fact, I should have mentioned that bike first. I don't really, those are the first bikes that come to mind. GSX-R 1000 and 10R, obviously they compete, but man, that any of the Aprilias are really good. The 10R and the GSX-R are less expensive variants of ways to, have a leader class bike. But damn that, man, the Aprilia is nice, and they fit me pretty well too. But I just could not get past. There was a price point that I just could not go over for this project bike. And it's not really even a project bike anymore. It's kind of my bike now. I mean, the Katana, I'll put it to like this. I wouldn't have moved on this thing if I wasn't given such a great deal on the Katana. And when I took the deal I at first was thinking, man, you know what? I should have bought the GSXR 750. That was the first thing that I thought of. I was like, but I'd fallen in love with the 1000, and there was such a cool backstory to it also, because I'm kind of a sucker for a good backstory, that I wanted to, and I wanted a leader class bike. I'm coming off the Katana, which is basically a GSXR 1000 circa 2005, right? So I didn't want to give that up. And I got everything I could have wanted and more with the GSXR 1000. So I'm glad I went that route. But before I started spending time with it, there's a blue and white GSXR 750 that I'm just like stupid all over, man. Oh my gosh, that bike's got me all stupid. But anyway, that is the other bike that I was looking at, is the blue and white, the traditional colors. But then I saw the red. And guys, if you haven't seen the dashing red color in person, it is a gorgeous looking color. But it does not show well on film. I don't know why that is, but it really doesn't. Oh, Skid's hanging out. Everybody check in with Eric. My dude is in. I like it. Everybody's saying hello. Yeah, he did mean the 8R for sure. Spike the like. Yes, thank you. Hard Rock saying Ducati Panigale V4. It is 211 horsepower. Yes. Well, you also have to look at this, though. When it comes to motorcycle horsepower ratings, it's kind of funny because the European bikes, like my bike is 190, what is it rated at? 198, 196, something like that. It's just shy of 200 horsepower. But the funny thing is that the European bikes have less restrictions on them in terms of making peak power. So when you start to compare GSXR 1000, R1, ZX10R, CBR 1000 to their European counterparts. So, you know, the 1000 RR by BMW, the Aprilia RSV4, any of those bikes, you're not going to have the same nannies on the Euro bike. So you'll see a little bit higher number with a correction to the tune. You can fix all of that, and they're all making the same horsepower. They really are. They're all incredibly powerful. Matter of fact, it doesn't matter which bike that you're talking about. If it fits you well, then that is the bike that you need to get. They're also all pretty close in price until you start really diving deeper into the European market bikes. That's where things get a little bit more expensive, but they also come with more. So you've got to kind of take it for what it's worth, and they're worth diving into because for a little bit more money, you can get the R, or a little bit more money, you get the double R, and you can see how this goes. I mean, you know, for just a few, for like 2000, it's always done in like $1,500 or $2,500 increments too, to get to that next level. So, but yeah, no, they're all good. The Ducati's RSV4 is a nasty, sexy bike too. Goldfish is like the 4 cylinders and the sound. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's one of the reasons why. And that, for me, the GSXR 1000 has such a distinctive howl to it. It's always been a little bit different sounding bike, and that really kind of got me. A buddy of mine with his white one, he put the Yoshimura slip on that bike, and it just reminded me, you know, of like 15 or so years ago, man, that deeper, that just that 1000cc rumble that they have. I just love that. I just always kind of wanted one, but you know, I had the Katana, which was, in essence, it is one, but it's, man, I wanted the GSXR, and I wanted the handling, and I wanted the riding position back that I was honestly used to. Which also brings me to another point. You know, why did I get rid of the Katana? Why did I move away from the Katana? This is also going to be its own video, but I'll just make this super short. I've got my Daytona, my dad's bike, right? And the weird thing is that if I rode my dad's Daytona and then I rode the Katana felt like foreign territory to me. The riding position, even with the Sato bars, it just felt way out of place for me. And I can't put it into words. I felt like I was riding a horse, like very upright, even with the more aggressive bars on there. And I did not like how that felt. And I also already have an upright motorcycle with the T120. And it is a proper British hot rod. Okay. So obviously it's not 150 or 160 horsepower the way that the Katana is, but it has that instant brap of charm in torque delivery. And it's just such a good looking bike too, that I've already got an upright bike. I wanted a more modern sport bike and I didn't have one. I just had another fast upright bike. So I've got the Cruiser and the T-Bird. I got my T120 standard, and now I've got my GSX-R 1000. And that pretty much, that covers all bases for me. And of course, I've got my dad's bike and the Rebel. I saw parts of that. In fact, I got a call right in the middle of watching that, but I did. The new Ducatis are no Sunday drivers. They're pretty aggressive. Yeah. And Eric, yes, happy holidays to you and yours, my friend. This kid's saying 4-cylinder bikes just never did it for me. To each his own. I respect the Hades out of them, though. They are special. To me, there's something to be said about the JDM, or I should say the UJM bikes, the Universal Japanese Motorcycle, 4 cylinders in a row, chain, handlebars, seat, right? But I'm kind of with you. There's certain bikes that I don't want to be a 4-cylinder. Like I was just talking about the Katana, for example. It's an upright bike. It's one of the reasons why I never really gravitated or could, like, for whatever freaking reason. And again, I don't know what this is, but I never could get into sport naked bikes like the GSX-S bikes. They look great. I know the platform. I get it, all of that. But I just could not ever get past the riding position for that bike. And if it has a riding position like that, I want it to be a twin. And that's just the way that my brain works. If it looks like that, then it needs to be a Triumph, or it needs to be a Sportster, right? Or it needs to be something with not 4, but 2 cylinders. And, then the Street Fighter thing really took off, though. At one point, you had the Speed Triple to go along with the Daytona. And it was just a more torquey version, not as much horsepower as my Daytona. And, Mission Impossible made them famous and all this other stuff. They're great bikes. I'm not taking anything away from those. Those are about as close as I can get to being okay with that kind of bike. So I get it. I 100% understand it. Let's see. It did sound like a VW. So we're saying, if you buy another car in the future, what do you have in mind? Oh, asking about cars. Haven't seen one that I'm all that worked up about yet. I hate to say it like that, but that is kind of where I'm at with it. You know what? If I did a build on anything, I would have to move away from the Fox body. So the Fox body would have to go, and in its place would either be a 5th gen Camaro or a C6 Corvette, maybe one of those, something like that, or like a Wagoneer or something along those lines. Something that I can have fun with, that my wife can have fun with too. It would be something that would just be a cool car. I'm done with the racing thing. When it comes to cars, I'm over it, not that interested in it anymore. And I'm even to the point now where, I don't do, like, people say, hey, can you take a look at my tune? Can you help me out with this? I'm kind of overdoing that too. Some of that, anyway, I don't want to get too deep into that. We can talk about that on Saturday, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Oh, Eric's hanging out with Sovereign. Let's see. Let's see. Hard Rock's asking CBR 1000 RR thoughts. Kick ass bike, man. You cannot do wrong with that bike. Love it. True words. Skid saying anybody that loves that GSXR 1000 is going to get a Mustang. That is some damn truth right there. That is some real damn truth. I tell you what, though, dude, they're at the top of the class in some respect for a reason, right? I mean, dude, you can say whatever you want. The R1's got its everybody's got their points, right? But damn it, it's a Gixxer, bro. I mean, it's the yardstick, right? Like it is. It just is. No, all the bikes are great, man. That's the beauty of these bikes, though, man. None of them are bad. None of them are slow. And here's the thing: if one of them is faster than another one of them, who cares? You're already talking about machines that. Let me give you an idea. When you, how do I put this? You take the horsepower of a motorcycle that revs to, say, 12,000 RPM. All right. And it's kind of RPM based. But if a motorcycle revs to 12,000 RPM, you take that horsepower and you can multiply it by 6 or 7. So in my case, it's like having a 12 or 1,400 horsepower car that weighs 4,000 pounds. Like, it is that crazy how fast they accelerate. And that's always been kind of the case when you see these things accelerate, especially through like 110 to 160. They're crazy with how fast they accelerate. So, it's just that different of an experience when you're talking about these different types of machines. But you're true on that, dude. And I tell you what, the Mustang that I would look at would be one of the Bullets. Kind of a soft spot for that car. But I don't, like you say, man, I don't know. If I were to do another car, build another car, I'm kind of out of the whole racing thing. Again, nah. Anyway. Yeah, Sovereign. The next best would be a Mustang for sure. But yeah, the Gixxer, man, it's tough to beat. It's a beautiful bike, and it's old school a little bit too. And here's the thing, guys. People talk about retro bikes and all this other stuff. Here's something you have to remember. The sport bike as it sits, the 600 and the thousands, they're kind of retro already. I mean, these things are, depending on where you live in the world, they're already kind of on their way out. 1,000cc bikes you can't buy them anymore in some European countries. My bike, for example, is a Euro 4 bike, which means it's nowhere even close to passing Euro 5 emission standards. A lot of these bikes have got electronic throttles now. There's a lot that are coming with these. There's a lot that comes with these bikes that you can't. You just really can't get some of this back, like the power production and all of that. And what's crazy is that the European bikes can seem to get there, but the Japanese bikes can't. Something weird going on there. Anyway, your name should have been Kyle. What? Chad didn't want any of that? Eric, yes. GSXR 1000. Still, I mean, the ZX10 is also up there with me as far as good looking sport bikes. So you're saying most overrated Thanksgiving food. Oh, man. Okay. The most ruined is macaroni and cheese. The most overrated, though, ham. Anytime somebody shows up to Thanksgiving with a ham and they want to be all like, I got a ham, I can't stand it because it's always way over cured and way over salted, but it's never even like the right kind of salt. And it just wrecks the flavor of the pork, man. So yeah, I am not a fan of ham. Skid saying turkey. Sorry, not sorry. You know what? I like turkey when it's done right, but the last time my wife and I were able to get the oh damn it, the Foursquare Club. What is it? The when the kids do the animals, 4X Club, man. Why this was okay? So you guys don't know I am dyslexic, and the problem is that if another word jumps in front of what I'm trying to say, then that is now what it is. So you know, if whatever reason, like this is a remote, right? But if this thing was, I don't know, if another word jumps in front of this, then that's what it's going to be that I'm going to call it. I had a coach that was like that too. He was bad with names like I am, so everybody had nicknames. But in the 4-H club, sorry, I had to sit here and think about it for a second. Anyway, we don't have access to the 4-H turkeys anymore. The 4-H turkeys were like pterodactyls. Okay, they were huge, and they were no any kind of chemicals or anything like that, and they were fed, everything was natural. If you've never had an honest to God 4-H turkey, it is on the other end of crazy. The dark meat tastes like roast beef. And I am sorry, and I'm going to have to agree with Skids in this. The turkey will be overrated, and it's just, if you've never had natural, then the stuff that you're eating, you're like, it's not the same. But yeah, the ham is like, ham's got to go, bro. I literally cannot eat it. I can feel myself like swell up after I eat that stuff. Some are saying RIP Dodge. Yeah. I'm just like with Dodge right now. Until Dodge gives me a reason to get excited about him, I'm not going to be able to get there from here. Skid saying, yep. Skid saying, saw a newer Stang 5.0 today, and the dark antimatter gray. It's a pretty car. It is a pretty car. I like the redesign of the latest S650. Yeah, power to weight ratio on a bike is like otherworldly. And it doesn't matter what bike we're talking about. We don't have to talk about leader class bikes. I mean, you ride anything with two wheels with over 80 foot-pounds of torque or 80 horsepower, and it's as fast or faster than most sports cars, at least from an acceleration standpoint. Top speed is a different story. Aerodynamics are horrific on motorcycles. Plus, you have to have more power to go more faster. And the way that I like to explain that, because a lot of people go, well, it's got this crazy power to weight ratio. Why didn't it go, a crazy mile per hour top speed? It's the same reason why a remote control car that has the power to weight ratio of a rocket can only go 70 miles an hour, right? It's the same kind of idea. You literally will run out of power. You just got to be able to move through the air, and that's what ends up happening. So, they accelerate like a freaking banshee, but most standard bikes, you really don't want to run them past 100 miles an hour anyway, because the wind will beat you to death. Sport bikes, on the other hand, whole different story. I can park that Gixxer at, pick a number that sounds high, and it's comfortable. I mean, I can park that thing at 130 and it's like nothing. But the Bonneville and the Bonneville and the T-Bird both start to run into issues with wind resistance at 100 miles an hour. Both of them will push past that and will do 115 to 120, but it's really not a place you want to be with a bike like that. And of course, the Daytona is more of a sport touring bike. It feels like it's a softer setup, but with that triple, set that thing at 120, 130 indicated and just eat up miles. Fun bikes. Oh yeah, Sovereign's liking the Challenger. They're great cars, man. I love them. You've seen one, you've seen 1,000 of them, right? And I want to like them again. They were kind of left to rot on the vine a little bit. And that's the big issue that I have with Dodge, is that they didn't give it a send off, and that to me is a little bit of a bummer. Eric's hanging out with. Stuart's asking, would you drive a pea green AMC Gremlin if it had a Corvette engine? I'll do you one better. Had a buddy of mine that him and his dad used to have Gremlins, and one of my dad's friends, it was like second tier. My dad helped him work on it a few times. Is a lime green Gremlin that he drag raced, and that car was fast. And believe it or not, it was all AMC. It had a 401 in it, and that car was like legit quick. I mean, it was about a 460 horse 401. Whatever you can do to an AMC 401, it was done. But it's a nice little street car. It's a good looking car too. So yeah, I'd drive the wheels off of that thing, especially if it was LS swap with a Corvette, LS3 or something like that. So we're saying definitely honey baked or no thanks. Stuart saying can't stand ham or cranberry sauce. Man, I don't mind the cranberry sauce so much, but the ham thing just wrecks it for me. I won't go near it. Deep fried turkey is damn good. I'll agree with that. Sovereign say cranberry. What's the deal with sweet potato pie? Dude. Well, yeah, no, you never pass a sweet potato as a pumpkin. All right. You never do. They're both significantly different, but sweet potato pie typically has that little texture to it. But the thing is that sweet potato pie, if you do it right, see, it depends on where you're from, but sweet potato pie, you serve that with the marshmallows. Pumpkin pie, you serve with ice cream. And pumpkin pie is typically a filler that you get out of a can. Sweet potato comes from Nana with butter, heavy cream, and sometimes a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of nutmeg. And you are going to hit that with your blender. Basically, you take that stuff and you blend it, and it's real stuff. You put that in your pie filling, and then you put your marshmallows over top of that. And that's when you bake that thing for like 20 minutes at 350. That thing comes out, and you just go swimming in it. And you put it all over your face when it cools off enough to where it don't give you burns. And then you get a little bit sick, but then you go back and do it again. That's sweet potato pie. Pumpkin pie, that's so sweet potato pie, when it's done correctly, is an experience. It's something that like you need to come down from when you've had just the right sweet potato pie. That's something that you will come down from that, and then you go through withdrawals for it. Pumpkin pie, on the other hand, that's just a kid's dessert. That's the kind of stuff where you eat it because, your niece is telling you some story about unicorns and shit, and she's eating that stuff, and you're like drinking like, coffee, but it's really a little bit of whiskey and coffee, and just to get you through the rest of the family. And you're kind of sipping on that, nice and hot, feels good in the face. And so something sweet to have while, just telling you the thing, like, oh, really? That's really good. That's what that's for. But no, sweet potato pie, whole different thing. And if you did it really right, don't mess with the graham cracker. You want the old school pie crust. Like, don't try to get cute with sweet potato. Sweet potato stands on its own. All right. If you want to do something frilly or whatever, that's the pumpkin. But when you get down to that sweet potato pie, boy, that's what's up. Now, there's another trick if you want to try and employ this, and you've got to have like real Irish salted butter to do this. But you're going to take that, set it next to the stove, let it get soft while you're cooking everything else. Take your brush, dip that brush in that Irish butter, and you're going to coat the whole outside of that thing, right? You're going to do that. And then what you might do, if you got bacon going somewhere, you're going to take some bacon grease and just barely go around that. And you're going to put some brown sugar on top of that. All right. So Irish butter, hit it with some bacon grease, and then top that with a little bit of brown sugar. And then just go ahead and slide that bitch up in that oven, and let me know when you're doing like that because you want it again. Yeah, you just come let me know. So anyway, sorry, motorcycles. Yeah, I like motorcycles too. Let's get back to it. So we're saying pumpkin pie and pecan pie doesn't care for. Oh, pecan pie, yeah, it depends on. So fun fact, when I lived in San Marcos, the house that I lived at had a humongous pecan tree. And I woke up one morning and a lady and her daughter were picking pecans in my yard. And she was a Hispanic lady. And I was like, hey, ¿por qué aquí vas? She's like, and so I got to talking to her. And so the people that owned the property, these were friends of theirs. They would always come and collect pecans. I said, oh, cool. Yeah, have at it. And I forgot about it, right? And about 3 weeks later, I get on my door, and it's her and her daughter, and she's got 2 pecan pies going, these came from your tree. And I was like, oh my God. So anyway, yeah, that was another thing. And they were awesome. They were so good. Chocolate cream pie, it can be good. Skids is like a mom's cream corn, but I haven't had a good cream corn in a long time. The Velocity turkey, yes. You know what's up, dude. DM for real, right? Like that thing. Like if I would turn around and sprint if one of these freaking big ass turkeys, Velocity turkey, showed up to the. No, hell no. Those things are big, and the legs. I mean, they're about this long. I mean, they're no joke, like that long, about this big around. Oh my God. This is the fruitcake nobody wants. Yeah. Skids is liking the sweet potato casserole. Let's see. Texas edition on a Dakota. I just passed up some of you guys on accident. Skids is liking the cranberry. Man, I passed up a lot of you guys. What happened? What did I do? Here we go. So yeah, challengers are everywhere. The French onion, yeah, the fried onions, those are good for the casserole onions. I'm gonna have to wrap it up here pretty soon, guys. We try to catch a couple of more of y'all's. Sorry to say true. Not everybody makes a good sweet potato pie. Candied yams. Oh, damn. Hard Rock bringing it, coming hard with the candied yams. Yes. Oh, Eric said his mom had a brand new AMC Gremlin with a 401. Sick little car. I retract my comment about the cranberry sauce. Dude, you know what? Cranberry sauce is an acquired taste, baby. Not everybody loves it. Oh, Hard Rock's rocking the scatty today. Nice. Green bean casserole hits hard too when it's done right. Kids, now I'm hungry. Yeah, I like 5-7 sound good. Eric's missing mom's cooking. I can understand that. It's good saying, hit the like button. Yep. Hard Rock is checking it out. Oh, Sovereign's checking out one of the SXTs. So at any rate, guys, that is the live show. If it's your first time hanging out with us and you made it this far, you're late coming in. Thank you very much for stopping by. Appreciate it. I do the Two Wheel Tuesday show on Tuesdays. Go figure. Go live between 8 and 9-ish. Typically do about an hour, but we're about an hour and a half into this one. So that is a fun show as always. But I want to appreciate everybody for coming by. And of course, to remind you to get out there and do something cool for somebody, because chances are they need it way more than you know. I'll be back live on Saturday talking more car stuff. Again, Tuesdays is for bikes. Saturdays primarily for cars, but I'll get into bikes a little bit too then. But with that, guys, I have got to wrap this up. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, hit the bell, do all that kind of good stuff too. It's like I feel like compelled to do that. I think everybody does, so I will do it too. And anyway, that is now a wrap. Thanks again. Hope to see you soon.